Hi, everyone, and welcome to the WIIMen podcast. WIIMen in Influencer Marketing is a first-of-its-kind exclusive networking group made up of inspirational women. This podcast is where we explore influencer marketing and get real about women in business. Find us wherever you download podcasts, and of course, you can always find us at iamwim.com. That's iamwim.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Women in Influencer Marketing podcast. It's Jessie, your host, and happy Tuesday. If you're listening when the episode drops, we have quite the week coming up. Tomorrow, if you're listening on Tuesday, is our big New York City experience event. I cannot wait. I'm nervous, but we have been working so hard on this, and I know that I'm healthy, which means to me that I should be able to be there, unlike our LA experience, of course, where I got COVID the night before. If it's anything like our last New York City event, though, I mean, we had girls they didn't want to go home. They went to the bar after. And continued hanging out. So for those of you who are not familiar, we are leaning very, very heavily into in-person experiences this year in 2023. And we are having them in New York, LA, Chicago's coming soon, and possibly other cities around the country. This event is Galentine's themed because it's on the 8th of February, and Valentine's Day is just like so soon that how fun would it be to just like get together with your favorite girls and like have some drinks and some food and a lot of surprises and fun. We're also getting a headshot photographer. So if you want to like freshen up your headshot for your LinkedIn or your own social or whatever, you want to use your website. We did that last week at a conference that we were at. So I wanted to bring it back because it was very successful. So we've got an incredible photographer coming, and girl, get all the pictures you want. It'll be really, really fun. Lots of surprises. So I don't want for the photos to inevitably come out about this event and you look at them and you're like, wait, I wasn't in the mood, or I didn't think I would enjoy it, or like whatever reasons you're coming up with right now where you would rather just watch Real Housewives at home. Like I'm telling you, I love Real Housewives too, but you are going to regret not going to this event. It's going to be incredible. And tickets will probably also sell out. So anyways, head to our website, iamwim.com/events. We will link that in the show notes, but it's iamwim.com/events. You'll see that event and all the upcoming events that we have because there's so much going on this year that we are very excited about. I'm excited about the not one, but two guests that we have coming on the show this week, Miss Lisa Poe and Molly Tracy, which I'm so excited to introduce to you. So first of all, they are both talent managers and former influencer strategists. Molly's company, she's a talent management and influencer marketing agency for women and brands with a point of view. Her mission is rooted in uplifting and amplifying female-founded brands and voices while obsessively expanding their digital footprint. She's equal parts brand builder, business manager, and digital strategist. She helps creators navigate the business side of the multimedia landscape. And Lisa is the founder of LGPR, and she's a strong believer in the power of meaningful relationships and that a trusted foundation is the key to impactful long-term success. After nearly 10 years of experience in marketing and public relations in the sports, hospitality, and CPG industries, Lisa followed her heart and leaned into the part of her work she was most passionate about, supporting people and brands with shared values. She brings a personalized approach to each client, helping to strategically grow their brand and solidify partnerships in the food, fashion, lifestyle, and wellness verticals. Outside of LGPR, Lisa is a proud wife, dog mom, friend, and mental health advocate. I am so excited for you to be a fly on the wall of like our fun girl chat conversation because it just felt like we were just getting together for drinks. Without further ado, this is Molly Tracy and Lisa Poe. right, everyone. We've got a special episode today. So I've got Lisa Poe and I'm so excited to have you both here today. Welcome. How are you, ladies?
Hi.
So good. Thank you for having us.
Yes. Molly Tracy is at the bottom of your screen right now. I hope you guys are watching this on YouTube or Spotify because they're gorgeous. They dressed up for the occasion. We were chatting probably like a few months ago, just like catching
Yeah.
up. And we were talking about the podcast and I wanted you on. And then you're helping me like sort of decide like what could be exciting for the show in 2023. And we're just like, let's just have a chat where we like invite our friends and it's more of like a powwow and less of like an interview. So that's the goal of inviting both Molly and Lisa on today. So thank you guys for taking me up on this experiment that's going to go wild and be wildly successful.
Thanks for
I'm
having
super.
us. Scheming to get Lisa and I together.
Yes. No, I'm so excited to have you both on. Like, I have a feeling that today's just going to feel like a fun girl chat. We were doing that a little bit before we hit the record button today. And I'm just excited to have you both on. We heard a little bit about you each individually before we launched into our chat now. But beyond on paper and like your official bios, I just want to know about your relationship with each other and how you ladies met. So, who wants to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is not like a sponsored plug. This is like
Truly.
organic, natural. We met in the WIIMen Slack group. I think one of us answered another one's question, then we started texting, and now we have monthly calls. And we had like basically a therapy sesh last night. So
It's one of many, in all honesty. I can't remember. I think we started chatting when you had just started your business and you were like maybe looking to find like other managers to connect with. And I was like, that's me, like happy to chat. And I don't know, we just kind of like we fell in love from there, I guess. We found out that we had like really similar business ethos and like similar backgrounds, having both worked like on the brand and agency side before. So I don't know, it was like a match.
It was a match made in heaven. Love at first sight. That's so cool that you guys met in WIM. I did not know that before today. So I love hearing that. That's really, really lovely. And then we also have another person, I think the three of us in common, Miss Kristen Ryan Spawn, who helps us all with our finances. I call her my financial goddess. How do you guys utilize Kristen in your businesses?
She's our bookkeeper. I tell her all the time I would get hit by a bus for her. Like, truly, I don't understand how I did my bookkeeping on my own for years before her. She's like life changing. Shout out to Lisa for making that connection.
Shout out
yeah,
to Lisa. Totally.
she was the first person I brought on when I kicked off LGPR because finance and number things give me anxiety. So I was like, I need someone to do this. And she DM'd me on Instagram actually through a mutual friend. And now she works with, I think, the three of us and some other ladies in WIIMen, which is like really exciting. So Kristen, we love you. Shout out.
Shout out,
Yeah.
Kristen. We do. We do. She's really incredible. Yeah, she works with a lot of talent managers, but she also works with me, and I'm not managing talent anymore. So she's just freaking phenomenal. Shameless plug for Kristen. I know that we have that in common as well. So I want to like dive into it and just get right into the meat of it. Like, let's be as honest and candid today as humanly possible. And I think a great place for those conversations to start is about like flaws in our industry. Look, it's January of 2023, which means a lot of things. It means that our industry has been around for a hot minute. It's certainly not new and it's not the wild, wild west anymore, or it shouldn't be at least. And it's also an exciting time of year because if there are flaws in our industry, which like there are, we have opportunities to fix them throughout the year. It's the beginning of the year. Like, let's start our minds set in the right place. Molly, what do you think are some of the flaws in our industry? And then Lisa, like, of course, I want to hear from you next.
I hate to call them flaws. I think there's still a lot of discrepancies, I would say, in our industry. So for instance, like my roster is mostly made up of lifestyle bloggers. They're OGs who have been, been doing it for the last 8 to 10 years. And we work on a lot of conversion focused campaigns. And I find that a lot of brands that are either performance based or D2C based or are trying to use influencers for, ROAS as their main KPI aren't thinking very strategically about how they're using influencers to do that. So for instance, like I was working with a brand the other week and they were a D2C food brand, and we were, trying to structure a scope of work that made sense based off of what their goals were and trying to think sort of like backwards. So they had a specific ROAS goal that they were looking for. And, my first question is like, great, like what's your AOV? Because if your AOV is, $20 and you're looking to 2x this campaign, well, like that's a lot of product to move on a first time Instagram story. Like we would need to look at a different scope. Maybe it's additional follow-up stories, or at least, maybe it's some blog post mentions or something like that in order to get us to the ROAS that you're looking for. We drove some really solid clicks for that campaign, but then you go to the website and you're looking at like they're charging $15 for shipping. So it's like, even by the time you apply the discount, no one's going to be purchasing that $20 product and then paying $15 on top of it. So I get frustrated when people are like, but influencer marketing doesn't work and I'm not seeing sales from it. And it's like, well, it does work, but are you thinking about it really strategically? And are you looking at, sort of the flow between influencer to consumer and how you play a role in that and how your e-com plays a role in that? So I think flaws in the way of like, in order for us to be the most successful that we can be, we have to be able to work with our brand and agency partners to really kind of have an understanding of how they're measuring success so we can kind of back end into it with the right scope of work and the right rate. Otherwise, it probably won't be successful.
No, 1,000%. And I also do want to clarify because there are very experienced women and men probably who listen to this podcast who know what ROAS is. But in case you don't, it's return on advertising spend. That's what ROAS stands for. So
Oh,
I just
yeah.
want to make sure that everyone's aware of what that stands for. Lisa, what are your thoughts? Like, I guess, do you feel as if our industry is flawed in any way? And if so, where?
Yeah, so it was actually a really good start with Molly because I kind of agree. I think for me, the big flaw or the big question mark is campaign success measurement. And I not only think it's ROAS and AOV, like Molly was talking about, which is, I believe, average order value, but I really think it's just being clear and communicative up front from the agency or brand. How are you measuring success? Like, is it conversions? Is it sales? Okay, let's do this. Is it awareness? Is it credibility? Do you just want to align with this creator for what they stand for and what like their ethos? Like there's a lot of ways to work with creators and they all have different strengths. And I think a flaw is that a lot of the times the brands and agencies that are putting on these campaigns, they have an idea of what they want to see as success, but they really don't know. So are they happy with the results? Are they not? Like there's always that question mark. And I think that is where there's a little bit of a gray area in the industry where it's like, does this work? The answer is yes, it works. It does a lot of things right. But did it meet your needs? We won't know that unless you know what those are. And another thing, I don't know if this is again a flaw, but even though it's not the wild, wild west anymore out here, it is still a relatively new industry. And I think the inconsistencies with like creator rates and pricing, and I think that topic has been really hot as the start of 2023. Some creators will do in-kind trade and post a TikTok and have 100K followers. Granted, we have a full rate for that. And it's like, there's a lot of inconsistencies there. And I think sometimes that puts some creators with the upper hand and their managers and vice versa. So I think it's just really like the fact that everything is so unique in this industry that's hard to have like a perfect formula or a perfect approach because it's all so different. And I think that's where a lot of the question marks come in.
And that's totally valid and can fix a lot of those issues. So I hope to see more of that this year. I think our industry is flawed in many ways, but maybe that's a harsh word. I get that. I'm certainly solutions oriented. So in that spirit, like I would hear about what you guys have observed or worked on. So like what's a cool campaign that you've come across that you think is worth a shout out? Who wants to start?
Lisa, you have so many good ones.
Thank you. I was like, I'm happy. I love this question. I actually want to highlight the campaigns or projects that have multiple touch points. So not just an Instagram story ad or not just a TikTok ad, not just social media. Maybe there's like an event tied into it. So I would say my two most fun, cool, and successful campaigns were something that tied in all those touch points. I worked with one of my creators, Nassim Labici. He's a food creator out of New York City. We did an amazing event with Urban Outfitters and Stanley, the Stanley Cup that I am literally drinking out of right now. And the goal of the campaign was that Stanley was launching unique quenchers, I believe they're called, like in the Urban Outfitters store. So we actually were able to host an event in the Urban Outfitters stores. My client did a recipe demo. It was so much fun. We had over 100 people attend. And the best part about it was there was the awareness, there was the content they wanted, there was foot traffic in the store that they wanted, they made sales. My favorite part of this campaign is something I want to highlight, I think should move more part of campaigns moving forward, is there is a give back component, which is something that myself and Nassim, my client, really pushed for. So a percentage of all the sales and the brands themselves donated to a nonprofit organization during this event. And they also raised money for a sustainability focused nonprofit based in Brooklyn, New York. So I think all the different touch points, there was social stuff there was the in-person piece, there was PR pushed out for it, so some like media coverage, and there was also the give back piece that really, allowed us to be even more excited to work with these brands and meet all these people in real life. And that just like really flourished, and we've been working with them ongoing since then. So a lot of good came out of that, and I think we can all learn that we can branch out a little bit from just like our Instagram stories to do some more fun things like that.
I hope so, because just doing an Instagram story, one post and one story and, basic usage and all that, like it just gets boring for everybody involved. I can assume for like the agency of record, for the influencers, they feel like they're not able to be creative, and the followers, their communities, like they're just seeing the same thing over and over and over again. So I could imagine that like everybody doesn't want things to feel stale. We want things to feel fresh and fun and innovative. Oh my God. Like
Yes.
that's the word that I think of. And especially as like us in this industry, like, isn't it exciting to innovate? I don't want to lose that. So I hope that people keep that in mind. So what about you, Molly? Like, are there any campaigns that you've either been a part of or observed that just did like a really, really great job in your opinion? I want to like continue patting people on the back and shouting them out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we've been really lucky that most of our roster has been with us for the last 5 years, which is just so much fun because we get to kind of see them in like different life stages. So, like, we've worked with a brand like Minted over the years to do wedding invites to then baby shower invites, which is so much fun. And same thing with like a Bed Bath and Beyond. Like, we did their wedding registry together, and then we did their baby registry at Bye Bye Baby. And so it's just really nice to see a brand kind of like carry through, life stages with your influencers. But we do have an exciting one coming up. I did a LinkedIn post about this yesterday, but we did recently land a dream partnership for one of our clients, which was like truly like a bucket list for her. And it's something I've been pitching for over a year. And it's one of those brands that, it's not that she's just like a genuine fan. Like, she's a body positivity influencer. This is a brand that really made her feel, for the first time, really like seen in her skin and really appreciate her body. And so it's just going to be the best campaign because she's not only going to be able to speak to it as like a fan of the brand, but truly it's so meaningful to her. And so
Say
make
the
some like,
brand name? Could we say the influencer or
oh,
is it too
we
soon?
can. We can. It's Fashion Veggie is her name. Her name is also Molly, which isn't confusing at all. And it's Dove.
Oh, Dove, that is so cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I can
Thank you.
definitely imagine that she's over the moon. That's a great brand to be partnering with. So shout out to them. Very cool. And I assume that you'll be sharing like updates on how it's going on your socials and stuff.
Yes.
So I look forward to watching and observing. And we're going to be sharing your socials later on. So stay tuned for that, everyone. Let's bring it back to the beginning a little bit, right? Like, everyone has a different entryway point into influencer marketing, and everyone gets into it for different reasons. Lisa, what are some of the reasons that you got into influencer marketing? And then my next question is like, has it lived up to the hype?
Wow, loaded question. Okay, so just a quick background. I won't go into too much detail, but I started my career in sports PR and media. And then I found myself working for a CPG brand in the wellness natural products industry for about 7 years. And I worked in PR, media, social media, and then influencer marketing came on the scene. And it was something that I was really interested in and was able to kind of launch for the brand I was working with for so long. And I realized in the last couple of years of my position at the CPG brand I worked for, I realized that like I was dreading a lot of my work besides the like influencer activations we're doing, or like besides like being able to talk to potential influencer partners or creator partners like over the phone. Like I was just like really loving the connections I was making with them. They were all just so talented. It was like very interesting to me. And so I honestly, a lot of them, some of them are literally my best friends to this day, if they're not my clients. So I just think in my more corporate America 9 to 5 life, there was this outlook that, you know, you couldn't necessarily like, don't be friends with your coworkers, don't mix home and work, and all of those things that like people tell you. But like, that's not my style. Like, I want to be friends with the people I work with. I want to have fun every day at work. And I loved these creators I was meeting for the most part. And I kind of saw an opportunity to branch out and work with some of them. And here I am. I actually, February 4th, which is in 3 days from when we're recording this, will be my like official 1 year anniversary of being full time with LGPR. So yeah, I wanted.
Yay.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Thank you. Has it lived up to the hype? I think the follow up question here. For that reason, yes. But I will say, obviously, being an entrepreneur and all the ins and outs that are in it. And one thing that I will elaborate more on later, like the stigma around managers being a certain type of way. There have been those obstacles along the way, but has it lived up to the hype? So far, so good. I mean, I'm only a year in, so we'll check in another like 6 months.
Fair, fair. And like, there's a stigma around talent.
I was brand side and I was part of creating that stigma when I was brand side. Youth and talent manager, the word agent, I feel like it has this like money hungry, aggressive, like Wall Street vibe to it. And I think a lot of brand reps and agency reps kind of have that mindset when a manager gets looped into an email. And I think my biggest struggle, and actually now a goal of mine as a manager, is to kind of like break that stereotype a little bit. Because if you like hang out with us on this podcast, like we're not only hardworking people and who love our clients and talent, but like we're nice. And it's
Nice.
just
We're
like,
nice.
we are nice. Like, stop treating us like we're here to steal your money out from under you. Like, that is not the
I want to
case.
make your money work harder for you. Like I
Yeah, like,
want to make more money, like with my clients.
yes. Like, we are
So
here in your corner. We are here to be collaborative. We're not here to just take your money and run. We're here, like most of us. That has been my biggest, I don't want to say disappointment, but a little bit disappointment being in this industry, is that like that's the immediate reaction or attitude I get from some people before they even hear 5 words come out of my mouth, and it's a little upsetting.
Think that like managers, lawyers, we fall into the camp of like it's so easy to hate on managers and lawyers and people
Yeah.
like that. And it's like all talking about like wanting to break stereotypes and wanting to be open-minded and wanting to be collaborative. So I appreciate that you're bringing this up, because I feel like as much as people say a lot of those things, those stereotypes about talent managers absolutely still exist. You were on the other side, you experienced it from that side, and now you're on the talent management side experiencing it like on the receiving end of it. What about you, Molly? Do you get sort of similar vibes from people?
I'm like very lucky where it's really few and far between where I don't run into too many issues. But I was thinking about it last night, Lisa, when we were talking about it, like the idea that some brands will say, like, oh, well, we want to do a briefing call, but we only do it with the talent and we won't do it if the manager's on the phone. And I'm like, you would never meet with a brand that had co-founders with only one of those co-founders. Like, we are their business partner. Like, we are our client's business partner. We are their managers. Like, we are most of the time the strategy behind their business because they're the creative. So having us on the phone shouldn't be an interference. It's really, we're there to help you think more strategically about how to put this campaign together, because we're the ones that are talking about your KPIs. Our creators there to really think about the creative and how am I going to bring this together and how am I going to make this interesting for my audience and how am I going to make it engaging for them. Whereas we're on the other side saying, how are we going to meet your goals, whatever those are? So it's a two-pronged approach. And I don't think that you can have a really effective conversation on strategy and creative without having both people in the room, both people being creator and agent.
If you have a good manager, if you have a good agent. Like,
You
I'll
have a good,
I'll
well,
also play devil's advocate on that too,
Yeah.
and, like, in our
I was
city,
gonna say
managers
I was going to say,
y
yes, of course. Like
yeah.
you need to have a good manager. Yes.
these
If you
stereotypes
do,
exist for a reason. We'll put it out
they
there.
do.
When I worked for an agency side, there was definitely a couple of agents that we sort of were like kind of on the blackballed list of like, they're just too difficult
Yes.
to work with. It's not enjoyable experience. Like I say this all the time. It would like literally kill me if at any point in time a brand was like, oh, I would love to work with Jess Keys, one of my clients. She crushes it, but Molly's just so unbelievably difficult that we can't even be bothered. Like that is my worst nightmare. I think as managers and agents, like our job is just to be kind and to be nice. And I think like this industry is like 95% women, which I love. Like we get to do this all day long and like chat and talk about things like relate to things outside of work. And so I just think kindness in this industry, especially with women, goes really, really far. So I feel like Lisa and I always talk about that. Like it's just, that's how we lead our business.
And so, yeah, if you have, someone incredible as part of the team, like it's almost a missed opportunity if you don't utilize them. So I would just like challenge people on the brand side or the agency side that, like, if you're feeling some sort of way about a manager, just like ask yourself what that's about. Because if it's valid and they're terrible, then that's
Yeah.
fine. But ask yourself why you're feeling that way. And if it's because of another situation that you were in with somebody else, then like just know that like that was that person and it isn't necessarily this person. And like, are you getting in your own way perhaps because this manager could be an advocate for you? Like they could be somebody that could help this process along really nicely. So just
Yeah.
putting that out there. So, I love that you guys both have been on the other side and, weren't only, or you're not just talent managers, but you have been on the other side of the equation. And I think that that's worth mentioning because of my next question, which is how can brands do better? Molly, let's start with you on this one. How can brands do better generally?
How can brands do better? I mean, I think Lisa touched on it earlier. I think the most important thing for us to know is your goals. And I think especially when you're reaching out to an agency, because a lot of agencies, they're friendly with brands. A lot of brands will reach out to us and say, I'm working on a campaign X, Y, and Z. Is there anyone on your roster that would be a fit? I think the first question is always, what is your goal? Because I have creators on my roster that I know can convert like crazy. And then I have other creators on my roster who are probably better for content creation or better for a general brand awareness just because they have a really strong reach. I want to put the right people forward for you. I want to make sure that you feel like this campaign is successful and you look good to your bosses. And so I think being really upfront there, flexibility would be like so unbelievable. Like there's not nearly enough creative freedom happening in this industry. Like I just had to go to bat the other day with a brand about how they wanted us to bring together some like organic mentions. For us, I said still shots work for us. Like still shot and organic mentions, you'll see an insane amount of clicks. Videos are not going to do well. They were pushing me on wanting to have videos for the story content. I'm like, I understand that this is in your brief, and I understand that you pitched this to the client, and I understand that they paid you all this money to put together this 30-page brief. I've been there, I've done it, I've made them. I'm telling you that you're a performance marketing brand, and I'm telling you what's going to perform for my client. Even if you find that, like for all the other creators that you've worked with, that video works best, still shots work best for my specific creator and her specific campaign, and you're contracting us to do a good job for you. So listen to us when we tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work. Or if you're looking for something specific in a brief, like key messaging, I'm like, that's not going to resonate with our audience. Can we word it this way? Like creative flexibility is so important. Like I feel like especially now, like it's 2023, like are we still doing this? Like it feels very kind of like 2015 to me to still be giving like very specific briefs. It's just like in the age now where people have really been able to create communities over the last 10 years, like trust that creator to know what she's doing. And I say she because I only have all women, but that would be my two things. It's really
Love it.
clear on goals, and please, like, creative flexibility. Like, I promise you we're not being difficult. Like, I'm trying to structure it so it works for you. And so it performs better for you. It's not just us being difficult.
Totally.
Yeah.
Lisa, what about you?
I would agree with everything that Molly said. But I also think I mentioned this earlier on one of the campaigns I love doing. And I think that like brands, agencies alike can all kind of be better at is like thinking about giving back as well in this industry because, no matter which way we slice it, this is a lucrative industry. No matter if there's ups and downs and ebbs and flows, there's a lot of money in influencer marketing. Like there's no denying that. And I implemented something with one of my talent in 2022 where we kind of upfront asked, what do you have any give back components or charitable components of the brand? Like, do you donate regularly? It was something that we wanted to know about the brands we were working with because it was so important to not only my talent but to myself. And we ended up being able to raise, tens of thousands of dollars last year for nonprofits through campaigns and working with brands and doing that, which is so exciting. But I think that should be at the forefront of a lot of these brands' initiatives to begin with. Like, obviously, they need to drive sales. We're kind of in the business of sales, as icky as that sounds sometimes. I get that. Like, we got to make money, we got to make a living. But also, these brands that are spending big with creators have the means to give back. And I just want to highlight that in this conversation as something that I really hope we see more and more in that being part of creator campaigns moving forward.
Go for it, Molly.
No,
Whatever you want.
I was going to say, I think like on a more macro level too, I mean, we can get very nuanced in this, but like on a macro level, I think a stronger push for diversity and inclusion in campaigns is something that I find that we're still not seeing enough of in 2023. Like, I'm looking even sort of like in our WIIMen casting, and like I haven't seen anything come through for Black History Month yet, and it's February 1st. Like, I think really trying to prioritize that and get ahead of it. I just feel like every year we have the same conversation of like, okay, like February 1st, like we have to do something for Black History Month. June 1st, we have to do something for Pride. Like, I just think that it's too much still of an afterthought for a lot of brands. And even more macro, I think like trying to get more influencers involved, truly like rooted deeply in the business. Like, I have a couple of creators that are ambassadors for different brands, and like they've actually been able to like initiate change on like a company wide level. Like, they've been able to come into company and talk about DEI issues with them and work on new strategies. And so I don't know. I think that there's definitely ways that it goes so beyond just like transactional campaigns, like even like Lisa saying, like, what's the charitable component? Like, I think utilizing influencers in their communities and the reach that they have with their audiences to really enact change is so important.
Yeah, I love that so much. Like, so this past week was Creator Economy Live conference in Vegas, and someone asked a question during the panel that I was moderating, like essentially to that exact point, like panelists, what are you guys doing in terms of like adding more, diversity and equity and inclusion in your campaigns? And I checked in with the guy after. I didn't know him, but I checked in with him after. I was like, thank you for asking the question. How did you respond to the answers? And he said what I agree with exactly what he said. He's like, the answer that I got was exactly what I was expecting. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted to hear. And I just think that, like, controversial topic. I don't think enough people really truly believe in DE&I. I don't personally. This is just my opinion. I think that they do it to check boxes. I think that they do it because there would be backlash if they didn't. And there's a few other reasons why they do it, but I don't think they fundamentally like really truly believe in it. And there's so like this could be an entire conversation. And of course, like, we're three white women like chatting together about this. So like, I don't know, take what we're saying with a grain of salt, I guess, especially me. I'm the one preaching this right now, but like it's important because I just feel like if people really believed in it wholeheartedly, 100%, and understood why it's important, like to the world, to culture, to their bottom line, and just like really wholeheartedly like press the I believe button and believed it, then we wouldn't just be having, Black folks like on campaigns during the month of like during Black History Month. And we wouldn't just be having Hispanic influencers on campaigns during Hispanic Heritage Month. Like we would just have them all the time. Like we would be colorblind and like the world would just be a really phenomenal, better place. I don't know how to get there. I certainly don't have answers. I love that you're bringing this up. I do think that part of it is just like trying to infuse diversity year round. Like that is step one, kind of a pivot, but I'll bring it back, I promise. I just saw this incredible show on Broadway called Kimberly Akimbo. If anybody's in New York, it was like phenomenal. So, so good. And I love that their casting was really colorblind. One of the main characters is Black. And like, I'll be honest, I was sort of waiting to see like, why did they cast a Black guy for this role? And at the end of the show, like, there was no reason. Like, he didn't need to be Black at all. He could have been Asian, he could have been white, he could have been anything. And I loved that because like it was just bringing like color and diversity to a cast and just showing that like we're all more similar than we think. And like it's great to be able to see yourself in a performance when it's not necessary per se. So, anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, but I appreciate you saying that and you bringing that up. And I would love to ask you guys, we were talking about like how can brands do better? You both are managers. So I also, and we were talking about, a lot of them are good, some of them are not. Like, let's be real about that. So, for those people, like, how can managers do better? Lisa, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I think a lot of the things we said apply to the other side too. But my big, like, hot tip, I don't know if it's like clickbaity, but like the number one thing I would tell managers that can do better, this is like almost figurative, like pick up the phone. Stop
Oh, yes.
emailing with like, here's the rate by, or stop rushing through your inbox and get on the phone and meet these brands, these people, advocate for your talent, learn about what's going on, like have a conversation, have emotion as part of it. Like managers are so stuck in the weeds sometimes. And again, some days it's like that. I speak for myself, but I'm sure I could speak for at least half of the managers out there. We work 14, 15 hours a day easy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we get stuck in our inboxes and it happens, but like set up time block, do what you need to do, get on the phone with brands, get on the phone with agencies, get on the phone with your talent, like say hi to them, go visit them, like prioritize that relationship that we all preach, but don't actually sometimes put the time in, like the work and time into. Pick up the phone, get out of your emails, get a little bit deeper in the conversations because that's going to make not only it a stronger, more trusted relationship, but that's where the success is going to come from. And I think a lot of managers, when I was on the brand side, would send me rates and like put their name at the bottom of the email. And let me tell you, that was the biggest turn off on the brand side. We would never even answer those. Don't do that. And I think that's where managers, like in a big picture, need to get better.
I don't know that I understood. So they would send you their roster and just like sign it, and you just wanted something more personal. Is that what the turnoff
Yeah,
was?
it was how short it was, or like,
Yeah.
or it wasn't necessarily like because they responded to an email, like you have to do that. But it's like I would ask for a scope of work and maybe some information or whatever the case may be, and they would just be like, "Sure, rates below," like in their name, like very short, no context. And for brands that are building these campaigns and trying to find the right person, like they need more context, and also this goes back to like being kinder in general. Like they need more kindness too. Like they
Yes.
want to work with you and your talent. Don't just short answer them, send them rates and like be on your merry way in your inbox. Like that's not going to do anyone any good. Like put some thought behind it, schedule a call, like take the extra step because I think that is what is going to make you and your talent stand out to a brand team or an agency team.
Totally get
I
that. Well, he's like, I co-sign. Molly, go for
I
it. What do you have to
co-sign.
say?
I am in nothing but an echo chamber. Like, I think I had a brand say to me last week, like, your emails are always so nice. And I'm like, do you just get emails that say like thanks, period, and send? And she goes, literally, Molly, every day. I'm like, what? My number one golden rule is 9 times out of 10, my clients are not CC'd on emails to save their inbox. I email as if my client is in the room with me always. I would never send an email that I would not want my client to see. I would never send an email that my client would be embarrassed and how I'm speaking on their behalf. you always act as if your client is in the room with you, and 1,000% get on the phone. All the magic happens on the phone. That's where you make the best relationships. And as a manager, all you have is relationships in this industry. Like Lisa and I are constantly, I mean, we pitch a lot for our business. It's a part of how her and I have structured our business. We pitch our clients. Often our clients look to us to bring them new opportunities. And so if you're not sitting back just managing inbound stuff, like you're out there hustling, you're meeting everybody. I'm taking coffee meetings, Zoom meetings, I'm flying out to New York to do agency meetings. Like you have to talk to people IRL. Like email is really not enough to build enough rapport. So yes, pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone and like stand out. I mean, I love that. I think, I don't know, I'll be honest, like I fall into that trap sometimes. Like I'm not the most like chatty Cathy type person. So like an email sometimes like I can just naturally by default seem like curt in emails and short and sweet and just to the point. So I think that's a really good like check and balance for myself and hopefully people listening too, which is like, would your client feel comfortable and like proud of this response on their behalf if they were looped into this email? And if it was just short and sweet, like maybe not, probably not. Like you are the first line of defense in a lot of different instances as their manager, and they are trusting that like you're putting their best foot forward. You're speaking on their behalf. So I think it's hugely important. Speaking of how we can all do better, how do you think that women generally can work together better in our industry? What do you think, Lisa?
Be more open. I feel like I'm like sound like a therapist on this call. Call people, hang out with people. You should go to therapy too. But anyways, I
Check.
think yeah, I went last night. It was a phone call with Molly. How can women do better in their industry? I really think I've learned a lot from just having an open communication with someone like Molly, a fellow manager, someone who is like more like-minded. I cannot tell you how many campaigns I've gotten from her sharing a contact, her making an email intro. Hopefully she's gotten a few from vice versa. I don't
Yes, yes.
know. Okay. Yes. But like we don't need to gatekeep here. Okay. Like I know there's competition in this industry and that happens. And there's always unique cases where maybe we want to keep things to ourselves until it pans out for our talent. Totally makes sense. You have to be business smart. But I think we could share contacts more, like just to put it really like to be like tactful like that, like share contacts, like make introductions where possible, and just kind of be a united front, especially in like the independent management industry. Like these larger agencies have those teams behind them where like Molly and I'm grateful that I have a full-time assistant now, and we all have Kristen, another shout out. But a lot of people probably in WIIMen are a one-woman show, and like we need support too. So WIIMen is a great place to start.
I love that. And I just think that like we can all really just be there for each other in a multitude of ways. Like I would say like Molly, I'll just be transparent. I haven't told you this, but like the last time that we connected on a video call, like I felt like I got to know you so much better. And like, I don't know, I felt more connected to you. And Lisa, I feel like that on this call, even today, I'm like, oh, I like Lisa so much. And, like we'll Slack because we're in the same Slack board for WIM, and we'll email. And I know that we have each other in common in terms of Kristen and what have you, but like nothing beats this. Well, I'll tell you what does beat it, an in-person like
Yeah.
experience. That's the only thing that beats us, but this is the closest you can get. And if you live in different cities, it goes such a long way. So I love that. My final question for you ladies, it's a fun one. Fuck, marry, kill, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Who wants to start?
I know
Go
my
ahead, Lisa.
answer, but
Okay.
I don't know what. Let me just get the kill out there. Listen, I'm not a YouTube girly. Never
Mm.
been a YouTube girly. Like, don't get me wrong. It's probably potential for marriage for some people in this scenario because it's like stable for the long haul.
It's
Amazing
longevity. Yes.
longevity. But like, listen, it's got the axe from me. I'm gonna be honest. Like YouTube, not into it, doesn't hold my attention. I'm not a YouTube person. I think YouTube creators are amazing, but it's gotta go. I would fuck TikTok because it's the new hot thing. Hello. Like, what else are you gonna do with
She's
that?
spicy. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
she's a little spicy.
spicy.
And then,
Hot little
okay,
thing.
I almost killed Instagram, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna marry Instagram because she's my OG
Oh,
girly. There's still so I know people shit on Instagram and everyone's like, TikTok's the new place to be. Yes, TikTok's great, sure. But like there's so much more to Instagram that's not gonna go away anytime soon. And it's part of Meta, which is ultimately if they need to adapt Instagram and do the things they need to do, they have the team, they have the experience and everything to make that happen and to keep it alive. So I'm gonna marry my girl IG. That's mine.
okay.
I love it. I love it so much. All right,
Yes.
Molly, what say you?
I'm killing YouTube too.
Oh
Sorry,
my god, really?
YouTube.
I thought you were
But
gonna marry
yeah,
YouTube.
no, I'm killing YouTube. I'm not a YouTube girly either. Actually, honestly, mine are the same. I'm gonna fuck TikTok because, you know, it's young and spicy. And then I'm gonna marry IG, but I'm gonna throw a curveball and I'm gonna side chick blog because I do believe
I
in
knew
blogs.
you're
I
I knew
knew
you were
that
gonna
you
have a
knew I was gonna
mistress.
do it. I know. She's my mistress. She's my side chick. I gotta keep her on. She belongs there.
That's hilarious. Okay, so fuck Mary Kill side check. That's
Jesse, what's yours?
okay. Definitely fuck TikTok because like it would be hella fun, you know?
Yes.
Fuck
Yeah.
TikTok for sure. I would marry YouTube.
That's
I love
nice.
YouTube. I watch YouTube on my television. We were talking about it last night because like my YouTube algorithm is like all fucked up because I was like on a work trip, whatever. Like he just watched so much YouTube. And now I'm like, babe, we need different profiles because
Yes.
I like to see certain things in my algorithm and that do not involve 3D printing and science. Sometimes I'm into it, but not all the time. So I love YouTube. I agree, stable, been around for a long time, but enjoyable as well. YouTube. And then I would kill Instagram. I think that if
Oh,
you asked
sorry,
me in
IG.
a year from now, like, would I say the same thing? I don't know. But like, as it stands, that's my answer. And then, well, now I'm going to add a side chick. I love LinkedIn. So I think like LinkedIn would be my side
Oh,
chick because like
Wait, I'm
I
like
love
getting into
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn lately. Like I'm
same.
feeling it. I'm making
I'm
friends on
vibing.
there.
We're vibing right now.
Yes, totally. LinkedIn is really fun. I'm part of their creator program. I always say, like, I'm that nerd. I love them. I always speak their praises. It's like the perfect place because you work in a creative field with social media, and it is a social media platform, but it's like a professional place where you want to also feel like you're making progress in your professional relationship. So it's like the perfect place. You can say all sorts of stuff, make all sorts of connections, but meaningful professional ones. So, side chick, LinkedIn.
Love it.
So maybe in this like salacious, other story, like maybe the side chick becomes my second
I was
marriage.
gonna say, like, I think you're leaving YouTube for
I was gonna
LinkedIn.
say, yeah, she's
Maybe
my
YouTube
post
and I are on the
divorcee.
rocks.
I love how
Yeah.
they're just all girls, by the way. Like, we didn't even like branch out into men, like girlies. Like, no.
Girlies.
We didn't.
Amazing.
I could keep chatting with you girls all day, but for the spirit of this episode not being 3 hours long, I assume that a lot of our members would love to reach out to you and connect with you. So, where can our community find you if they want to connect? What about you, Molly? And we'll go to Lisa.
We're just on IG at VRAI Digital, VRAI. Come hang out. We have a lot of fun over there. LinkedIn, VRAIdigital.com. I don't know. I love hearing from brands, like new agents. I love mentoring new agents. That's like my new fave thing. I've been doing it for a long time. So love to share knowledge. So come find me.
I love that. And what about you, Lisa?
And my Instagram website is at the LGPR. My business is just called LGPR, but I had to put the because LGPR is taken on everything. So if anyone's confused, so it's at the LGPR. And also, yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. My full name is Lisa Poe, last name Poe. So happy to hang out there too, or Instagram. I have a lot of fun doing my Instagram for work. So yeah, you could probably tell by like my highlights and stuff. So anyway, come hang out.
All right, amazing. And we will link all of those in the show notes below. Thank you, ladies, so, so much for joining today. And we will see you all next week. If you enjoyed this episode, we gotta have you back. Check out our website for more ways to get involved, including all the information you need about joining our collective. You can check out all the information at IamWIIMen.com. Leave us a review, a rating, but the most important thing that we could ask you to do is to share this podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week.